Hi, good afternoon. It's Friday afternoon, and first and foremost, apologies that this is now Friday and the update for Tuesday's run didn't go out yesterday as planned. Not quite sure what happened, but we're doing another one now. So I can only apologise for that. Those of you who are in the WhatsApp group will have the gist of everything that's gone on before and since. But, at the same time, there are some of you that aren't on WhatsApp, so there's no real justification for this video being late, and I can only apologise for that. So the race on Tuesday night, Chelmsford, 7 furlongs, Born to Finish finished 8th, went off at 10-1. The first thing that needs really pointed out is that the run wasn't as good as we were expecting. I think everything in the race that could have gone, if you take Born to Finish out, everything that we wanted to happen in the race happened exactly as we would have wanted it. They went too quick. The race was set up for somebody coming late, closing. Unfortunately, that wasn't to be. Born to Finish. The jockey, young Thomas, has since gone home, watched the race, reviewed it with his jockey coach. All apprentices are allocated a jockey coach, and he's taken the time out to call Ed and apologise. Straight after the race, he felt that Born to Finish had been in the stalls too long, and that was part of the reason why he started so slowly. As we all know now, as we have done now for a number of years, Born to Finish does tend to start all his races slowly. Even when he breaks clean, he still takes a few strides to get into his stride and just get himself balanced. And by then, with the speed that these had gone on Tuesday night, he was struggling. Now, what David Probert did over 6 at Chelmsford was he didn't panic. He just gave him a chance to tack onto the back of them and then made a mid-race move. Still found himself significantly down coming off the final bend, but Born to Finish had enough left to run past the horses as they were stopping. Where Thomas has gone wrong a little bit is he's kind of panicked and tried to rush Born to Finish up to get him in the race. He's ended up running the first couple of furlongs with absolutely no cover, which is not ideal for any horse. And he's just been at him all the way, which has not really given him a chance to get any sort of breath into him or got any sort of rhythm to what he was doing, especially when he's then hitting the bends and going a little bit wide. So all in all, I don't think that it would be fair to say that Born to Finish would have won the race. In fact, I'm pretty convinced that he wouldn't have won the race irrespective of what had happened. The time form rating and the race and post rating that's been allocated to the winner, Strawberry Jack, is an 86 on the race and post, which is the equivalent of the best race Born to Finish has ever ran. So he would have had to have ran an absolute career best to have won the race. And even if he'd ran to the same rating as he ran last week when he won at Chelmsford, he would have only finished 4th. So it was a better race than the one he was in last week, or the week before. We knew that, but that's what happens when you win. You tend to have to run in a slightly better grade, and they've gone very, very quick. He's been taken off his feet, and we go again. It's not the first time that we've been a little bit underwhelmed by Born to Finish. Thankfully, with him, it hasn't been too often, and typically he doesn't let us down. And I don't think the horse let us down either. He's finished the race. He could have gone round again. He hasn't been massively blown, irrespective of the fact that Thomas has been at him all the way around. Ed's clearly got him in very good condition. He is very, very well with himself at the moment. But the frustrating part for me is that it still leaves questions unanswered, because we can't definitively say that Born to Finish will win over 7, because he still hasn't. So it is frustrating. Whereas if he'd run really well, 2nd or 3rd, you could say, look, his time is coming, but clearly that wasn't to be the case. So there's still very much questions to be answered on that. Now, the concern I have with 7 furlongs is the race is not being ran to suit. This race was ran to suit, and then things didn't fall for Born to Finish. We need more in our favour. We all left, and this is where you have stables like Mark Johnston who run the horses predominantly from the front and get so many winners because they take away the factor of what other people are doing or how the race is run. They take that equation out straight away. They make sure if their horse is needing a strongly ran race, that they get a strongly ran race because they set that pace. Born to Finish should never get to the front or run from the front, so we do have that element of frustration to live with. And there's not a huge amount that we can do with that apart from try to give him the conditions that he needs and then hope that things fall in our favour. The ride wasn't great. To see Thomas has been man enough to apologise. I think he's possibly been a little bit harsh on himself, but then again, you know, you take on board what he's saying. At about the 3 furlong marker, we weren't far behind the eventual winner, but the eventual winner was travelling and Born to Finish was being scrubbed along. So it's a very difficult one. It is a case of, do we just put a line through it and see where we go next? Probably, to a degree. I think it's also worth considering that the winner was, as I say, ran the Racing Post rating. That is as good as Born to Finish has ever ran in his career. He's also a relatively unexposed 3-year-old who is coming back from a break, from a good yard. So it is very possible that we've just bumped into one. Broaden's Flair was very heavily backed to win the race. That was another 3-year-old, and that finished in front of us. And that's a horse that's got lots of improvement, and that horse has run a good race, but it's only finished 5th when they expected that horse to go and win. The Roger Varian 3-year-old has probably ran below what they would have been expecting. But when you look at the horses in front of us, a horse that's won 3 of its last 4, a horse that's very well handicapped from the Mick Appleby yard that showed it was coming back to form last time. The Richard Fahey horse that won last time out, that you know was a much bigger price than I expected, but it's run a decent race. It was a competitive race, and I think what is just the case that is now with Born to Finish is that we need to find a way to help him win a race. We're going to try and find more consistency with jockeys. It's very difficult with a horse like Born to Finish because he's not running at Premier meetings, so you don't always get the Premier jockeys available. And he's also, there are that many of the big stables now who've got that many horses are still running horses in these what are perceived as lesser races and not claiming the decent jockeys. So I thought we had a good appointment with Thomas, and looking at it now, maybe we needed somebody with a bit more experience to ride Born to Finish. That's difficult to see now with hindsight, but yeah, the plan is not certain yet, but it looks like Born to Finish will be going to Lingfield on the 4th of December. Depending on what the handicapper does on Tuesday, that may well be changed, because if he does get dropped by 2 or 3 pounds, then we may well look at an order 65 and just try and find a race where he is significantly the best horse. I think it's starting to look like we won't get Born to Finish back up to the ratings of 80. I think where we got a problem now with him is granted he won last time over 6, and you know that is what it is, and it's a fact, and he won a race off 65 over 6 furlongs at Chelmsford. But looking back at the race, reading the analysis of the race, listening to the jockey, he only won that race because he stayed 7 well. The 6 furlong horses didn't get home because they went so fast. And although he couldn't go the early pace, he wasn't as far back as he might have been because they weren't as good a grade of horse, and although they were going quick, they weren't going as quick as they might have been. Now, in order 65, it may well be that he could win again over 6, providing he gets the run of the race. It could well be that he could win over 7 at that level, but his early race speed is putting him at a bigger disadvantage now than it used to, because he doesn't quite have the end finish to the race that he did have. If all that we end up with Born to Finish is that he ends up going up the handicap a bit, can it win, comes back down, wins in a 0 to 65, goes back up, comes back down, then, you know, he doesn't owe us anything. He's been fantastic for us, and if that's the horse that he is going to end up being, then we'll need to to work out how we campaign him to make sure that becomes a little bit more interesting and fun to follow than it sounds. Ed's got a couple of ideas. I've got a couple of ideas of things that I think are worth looking at. So we've got some digging around to do to try and see what we can do. There's no need to panic. I mean, I think, you know, it wasn't a great run, but it wasn't his worst. So if anybody's got any questions or thoughts, again, can't recommend enough to get into the WhatsApp group, because there's a lot of interesting stuff in there, especially after the race. A lot of different opinions and discussions around different things, and I'm sure everybody who's watched the race has got a reason in their mind of whether it was a bad ride, whether it was just and we've had them all. You know, I've had the emails of people saying that's proven for definitively that he's never going to be a 7 furlong horse, and he's only going to be a 6 furlong horse. I can understand that, but for, like as I said before, he is not going to win over 6 furlongs as often as he did before, because he's just not going to go the early pace. Especially not once he gets outside 0 to 65. So that needs to be considered. It may well be that we need to go further up in distance to try and find a way that his slow starts don't hinder him, because he's got more time to get into the race and then try and use a bit of his speed at the back end. He's bred to stay a lot further than 7 furlongs. So, you know, that could be something that's worth a look at as well. So the main thing is that he's fitting well. Main thing is that he's healthy. Main thing is that he's enjoying his racing, and all of those things seem to be ticked at the moment. It would be a nice bonus to get him back in the winner's enclosure. Absolutely, that is what we're striving to do. And who knows, that could well be at Lingfield. You know, he's ran very, very well at Lingfield before. They will go quick at Lingfield. And it's 7 furlongs, so we'll see where he is coming off the bend and see if he can try and see the race out better than some of those in front of him. But thank you very much, and any questions, as I say, drop me a message. Thank you.